We're on Church Street, very familiar scene if you've seen some of my previous episodes on Montclair. And at this right here, we're really in the heart of that Bloomfield dining area, dining and entertainment for that matter, because there are theaters that are local here as well. What's beautiful about Montclair is that, well, one of the things that's beautiful about Montclair is that it's just not one location that has these phenomenal eating establishments. You can find it in various areas throughout the town. So we're going to take in a little bit of walking footage here to get a feel for this. If you are someone who has never been to Montclair, this is definitely one of your go-to spots. You can pretty much select a number of places. One is right here behind us, this diner spot that's a little on the pricey side, but food is high quality. A few steps further down, there's a fabulous Greek restaurant that there's too many names to drop around this general area to get good quality food of any variety. So we're going to get in some walking footage and take a hop over to another spot that is one of the finest green spaces that you'll find in Essex County. So let's hop over, get in some walking footage and hop over now. What we often talk about when we are identifying features of your prime locations in suburbs is green spaces. So Van Vleck Park, I'm saying park because this is very much a park setting, house and garden. Space where a lot of weddings, a lot of family outings happen right here. I come with my family as well because it is such a beautiful, serene place with all variety of trees, shrubs, flowering plants. We see the wonderful fountains right here. So this is something, again, that just is a value add for communities like Montclair when you have green spaces that are next level like this one, and then your average typical parks and spaces where kids are playing, walking dogs, spending time, just laying out in a wonderful spring and summer day like this, just to be able to take in some quiet time and enjoy the surrounding community. So this is another feature that Montclair brings, just at a different level. So here from the studio location, we are going to dive into some numbers. We want to take a close look at both Montclair and the broader Essex County market data to get an understanding of where that market is right now compared to a year ago and what's happening that is of real significance right now. With any conversation about Essex County, the crown jewel definitely is going to come up, and is something I've referenced as the Mecca of all Jersey suburbs, that being Montclair. We're going to take a look at some data points. We're going to look at some tables a little later, but right now I'm going to reference a couple things to note about Montclair. First and foremost, number one, coming in all of Essex County, number one in terms of high demand. And how do we gauge high demand? Specifically, list price to sale price ratio. All right, so this is showing 127.2, which means 27% above ask. And this, again, is the month of June. All right, so month of June, we took a snapshot from the 1st to the 30th. We're about in the second week. We're mid-July right now, so I'll give people time, basically agents time, to go back and put what they need to put into the MLS system so that we get the most accurate data. So we're looking at June, 27% above list price is the average, okay? Volume, number one for, again, month of June, number one, Montclair is with 39 transactions. Now, we're looking specifically at single family homes. We'll have episodes that have more context or focus on townhome condo and with multifamily. Essex has all of these, really, right? So you have areas of high concentration multifamily like Newark and Irvington and East Orange, and all of these areas have condo and townhomes. But we're going to really look specifically at single family because that's kind of like your average type of purchase in the entire marketplace. All right. So number one Montclair is there. Number 2 in high velocity. So by velocity, how many days on market? Okay, so 13 days average. All right, for the month of June, everything that closed in June. Average 13 days on market. And number 2 in the luxury market. How did I gauge luxury market? Specifically, luxury market looking at sales that landed at 1.5 or above. I know in some of our South Jersey snapshots, we did more of $1 million point, but we're in Essex County, and we're going to jump into location in just a few seconds. But for location like Essex County, 1.5 is where we're going to start at the luxury end. And really, that's a very, very modest luxury purchase for Essex County. But nonetheless, that's the number we're going to use for that purpose. So for Montclair, coming in number 1 in 2 of those categories, coming in number 2 in the other. So let's jump into location just to give a little bit of context as to why there is such a focus on Montclair compared to some other locations in Essex County. So we're going to focus on the proximity to New York City when we're talking about Montclair, specifically Essex County in general. We see that Essex County is directly west of Midtown Manhattan, and that becomes very attractive to those that commute into the city, even those that dwell into the city but want more of a suburban kind of feel that is still relatively close. Maybe you don't want to go up to Westchester, which you tend to pay a bit more price per square foot, but you pay a little bit more in taxes on the Jersey side, relatively speaking. All right, so there's an attractiveness for people to come over. So Stephen Colbert is one of those names that we have referenced as a famous Montclair resident. Michael Strahan used to be. I don't think he resides there anymore. Aaron Rodgers, formerly of the Jets, now Steelers, which I'm a Steelers fan. Hopefully we make some progress this year with Aaron Rodgers at the helm, but Aaron Rodgers still owns property from his time with the New York Jets, and there are a number of other celebrities that do call Montclair home. So proximity is one of the reasons. Transit is the other. We're going to take a look at the train stations. They are scattered from north to south throughout the town. Even the neighboring towns have nearby train stations. So we're talking Glen Ridge and Bloomfield, and we also have Little Falls. So these are other areas neighboring to town with train stations. Makes it very convenient for much of the community to have very reasonable access to the train. So with this focus on Montclair, we're going to take a deep dive into a new luxury listing. It happens to be mine. We're going to take a look at that towards the end of the video. Stick around for that because we're going to take basically a walking tour through that property, getting an understanding of what you get for that kind of price point in the Montclair market. So stick around. So right now we're going to jump into some of the data points that are of significance for our analysis of Essex County in 2025, specifically June 2025. So we're going to first take a look at Essex County. We're going to look at year to year. Our year to year, we're really having to rely on our May to May data set instead of June, just for this particular example. So we're going to flash up this table here, Essex County market analysis of 2024 to 25. We have both single family homes and townhomes entered because that was the data on the chart. Of course, in this episode, we're focused more on single family homes. So with listings, we see, which is an encouraging piece of data, is that there's a slight uptick, almost 5% of new listings from year to year. Closings as well. All right, so closings is up a little bit over 4% at 4.3. Days on market, we see there's 28 versus 29. All right, so there's this almost a wash there. Median price. All right, so your median price, single family, 831, and our percentage of list price. So this is averages going from May to May is actually list price ratio took a little bit of a pull back. And this is consistent with what we have been observing in the market is the market definitely has slowed down. We have not flatlined, however. So make no mistake, when we say the market is slowing, you are seeing more price reductions. You are seeing lowering of list price to sell price ratios. But do they still see a trend of moving up when we're talking about list prices and sale prices? Yes. So still a seller's market, but just not as strong of one as a year ago. So we see here list price, sale price ratio took a little bit of a pullback with a half point, and month supply almost a wash, 2.1, 2.2. Again, when you're into a buyer's market, when we're talking about numbers like 4 or 5 months supply, once we are in the ones and twos, indicative of a seller's market. All right. So you can see, just reference for yourself, some of the townhome and condo data. We're not going to get into a dive into that data in this episode. And we also see Montclair. So let's take a look at Montclair towards the bottom of this table. Montclair versus Essex County. So Montclair, we're talking sales volume, 63% in this same month-to-month comparison. When we're talking about price appreciation, 26% compared to 6%. List price, sales price ratio, Montclair, we're talking 22% year to year, right? May 2024, May 2025 compared to Essex County in general at 11.8%. Days on market, Montclair 23 average versus 29 for the county. So that's given like the indication again. When we say crown jewel, we talk about the Mecca. We're talking about a place that has that level of interest and demand, and we're going to get into the reasons why a little deeper right now. And by the way, second table here as well before we see some other footage, and that is giving kind of a side-by-side single family versus townhome, just kind of a different format and look here with some of the same indicators of the strength of Montclair towards the bottom. Just take a peek here, just reinforces some of that same data point analysis that we previously mentioned. And taking a look at our county-wide markets, we're going to look at some of the same categories that we've looked at in our other market analysis in counties throughout the state. High demand, we're starting there. Let's flash that up. We see ranking number 1 again, as we already talked about, Montclair at 27.2, followed by Glen Ridge. And look at the number of sales. We're not looking at small numbers of sales at all. Glen Ridge coming in second at 21%, South Orange at 15, Maplewood 14, West Caldwell at 13. All right, so we see in each and every one of those very, very healthy numbers. Definitely both on the list price ratio side, as well as sales volume and days on market. All those averages are below 20. Next would be velocity. How quickly, who has the fastest moving market? We see ranking number 1, we have Cedar Grove, average of 906,000, 9 sales, 12 days on market. Montclair, again, as we referenced earlier, second place, 13. North Caldwell, slightly, really neck and neck right there with Montclair at 13.1 days. Verona, 14.8. Maplewood, 16.5. And some of these, like the Verona and Maplewood markets, do in fact have averages under 1 million. And this is something that is bringing up relevance where we are right now. There is like this huge major newsflash event. We have a change in the real estate tax set up in New Jersey, where now what's been called the mansion tax, where buyers are paying an extra 1% on purchases above $1 million. Now it is a change dynamic here, and the sellers are now paying a pretty hefty tax when you have to sell a home above $1 million. So we're going to reference this table here as we can see, the law is now in effect, effective July 10th. All right. So again, that fee transfers from buyer to seller. Anything above $1 million is a 1% additional tax on the seller. And you see it incrementally increases based on the sale price. So anything at $3.5 million and above, that is a 3.5% tax on the seller to transfer that home to the buyer. So, and the seller is going to pay all of these fees. So we have a few examples of, what this looks like. So we see before and after, and just take a look at, the list price that we have at 65 South Mountain, for example, $2.85 million, which the property was very certain to sell above that price point. But if that is a $28,000 $500 before it, and that's buyer out of pocket, now it's a $62,000 $500 tax on the seller, right? What they will have have to navigate and deal with now under the new law. So something very important for sellers to consider where we are right now with the new law. And now we take a look at volume. Looking at volume, we see for volume, we referenced already, Montclair is number 1, coming in with 39 sales in total. Just behind Montclair is West Orange, and West Orange is a consistent high performer. That and Union County are just consistently high volume markets. 38 for West Orange, directly behind Montclair. Livingston at 25, Millburn, Short Hills at 24, tying with Newark. And again, Newark, we're looking at just, again, single family. If we were to include multifamily here, lights out, Newark would be well at the top of the pile. But this is for single family exclusively in this case. And where to find a bargain in Essex County. And there are a variety of locations to consider. Irvington coming in, we did average sale prices, right? So average sale price for Irvington, just under $430. East Orange, just under $490. Newark, just under 500. Belleville, Bloomfield. You see how they start to take leaps here once you're talking Belleville and Bloomfield. These are both of those locations are really attractive options for those who are really kind of getting priced out of, say, Nutley. So I say Belleville because they're neighboring right there with Nutley. If you're priced out of the Nutley market, then Belleville is an alternative. Likewise, if you're in the Montclair market, you're priced out, then Bloomfield definitely would be the alternative. But these are, if you're looking for bargains in Essex County, the primary locations that you're going to shop. And last but not least, certainly for Essex County, is going to be the luxury markets, 1.5 at least as an average. So we're going to look Short Hills, Millburn. Short Hills basically is an unincorporated section of Millburn. Millburn's the actual township. So we're talking 1.7. Montclair coming in at 1.5. And again, you can see that clearly with these two, they're both neck and neck when we look at some of this data. These are the only two markets that had that $1.5 million average. There's still some luxury in other markets of Livingston, South Orange, Maplewood. You're going to find some luxury options as well, North Caldwell. But these are the ones that have that 1.5 average for the month. So as we're about to transition back to the feature property, 65 South Mountain Ave, we're going to first go back into our on-site scene, take a look at some more footage in the neighborhood. We're going to take a look at Church Street and also Vleck House Gardens just to get some of that feel in the community. Let's take a look now. This leads us back to 65 South Mountain Ave. So we're going to take a drop right there, get some live footage in, just a walkthrough of the property and get an idea again. What does that price point of just under $3 million look like for Montclair? And what are some features that are standout when it comes to this property? Before we transition to our next segment, I want to make sure I offer a couple of these resources for those of you all out here who are in the buying process. I have a buyer's guide, so a QR code for you. If you need some insights on the process, you need any assistance in your process, feel free to reach out to me and my team. My contact info is right here in the episode and at the bottom of the screen. So you also have for buyers, those who are coming into the area from outside of the country or outside of the region, we have a QR code to give some insights about New Jersey and the general marketplace surroundings or what have you about the Garden State. For homeowners, 2 resources for you. One is for those who just want an analysis of the current value of your home. No obligations, no strings attached. It's strictly complimentary. This is a QR code for you for a custom CMA. Know your value. And for homeowners who would like to know, what would an investor offer me for my house in cash today? Because you're cash curious. Here is a QR code for you to get no obligation quote of what an investor would give you today for your property. Presenting 65 South Mountain Ave is a colonial center hall style, also with influences from the Spanish Art Deco kind of flavor that is seen also at the local university at Montclair State University. Inside of the home, hardwood floors span throughout with 2 fireplaces on the main level and an updated kitchen, which is a significant feature in homes that are pre-war in age in Montclair. Many homes have size, have aesthetics, have curb appeal, and in some cases even do have a pool. However, there's a need to upgrade kitchens and bathrooms, and 65 South Mountain Ave is ready and in move-in condition. The primary suite offers a balcony, a walk-in closet, expansive ensuite bathroom, positioned in a manner that there are occasions to pick up a view of Midtown Manhattan off of the primary bedroom balcony. There are 3 other bedrooms on the second level, 2 of which that have a full bathroom. And on the 3rd level, there are 2 bedrooms and another full bath. And the key feature of this property is going to be the spa-like pool scene. Heated and saltwater pool with a pool house for lounging and comfort with a bathroom and shower in the pool house. Garden style landscaping outside of one patio. On the opposite side, a patio off of the kitchen, making it very convenient for entertaining. This estate style dwelling is only 2 blocks walking distance to the Church Street dining and retail area, and only approximately 5 blocks away from the Vleck House and Garden. Just to point out, the luxury of the home is also complemented by proximity to community locations that are walkable and make the overall location that much more appealing. So the data sets that you see, the footage that you see both in the community and of the property at 65 South Mountain give you a very clear picture as to why Essex County in general and Montclair more specifically is really one of the prime locations for individuals to buy property in New Jersey. We hear of Bergen for obvious reasons. We hear of areas in and around Princeton for obvious reasons. There are definitely areas throughout the shore that draw a lot of attention, but the mecca of them all, in my humble opinion, is Montclair. So I would love to hear your insights. Those of you all who live here in the Garden State, those living in or maybe even are from Montclair, please do drop some of your commentary here. And again, I welcome all commentary, even if you don't agree, just keep it positive and constructive. So I want to thank everybody again for joining me in this episode. There's more like this coming your way on a weekly basis. And as I always say, stay safe and stay tuned to New Jersey Living.